I'm ranking every fruit in Blox Fruits as of update 20 from worst to best, starting with the barrier fruit. Barrier is a natural type rare devil fruit. In short, this fruit allows its user to create barriers to block or trap opponents. Which sounds good, but actually isn't. Cause the moves deal little damage, requires precise aiming and are slow. But however, this fruit can be fun if you are trolling other players. Now the mobility move, it absolutely sucks. Like, just look at this thing. Next up at number 36 we have the spring fruit. Let's first talk about the pros of its moves. They are quite fast compared to barrier and have okay range. Now, don't get me started on the cons. It's the second worst for a reason. Z, move has no range, C, move has little AoE, X, move requires precise aim, and V, move doesn't work unless you're in a small area. However, its mobility move is pretty decent. Now, at place number 35, we have Phoenix. Well, not really, cause it's the Walmart version. Falcon is a uncommon beast-type devil fruit. I mean, it's not the worst fruit, but it's definitely not the best. If you're skilled enough you can pull off some really good combos with this fruit. And apparently the Z move lets you jump slightly higher. However, all the moves are terrible for farming due to their high knockback and bad AoE. But hey, at least you get to fly with it. Now this is probably where it gets controversial, but Revive deserves this place. The fruit is decent for stuns, however there's better options out there. The damage is also okay, but the reason why it's only number 34 is because X has little AoE, only has 4 moves in which 2 does no damage, F, move is slower than dash running, and C, move only gives you 50% health upon being revived, and usually in cases where the ability activates, you probably won't have the chance to fight back and will just die again. Now we've got the diamond fruit. It's basically Buddha but way worse. When you transform with this fruit you take 25% less damage, which is nice. If you are a sword or a gun main this might be a decent option for fruit because it's free damage reduction. But once again, this fruit exists so you might want to reconsider using diamond. Now for fruit mains, just don't. Alright? The damage on this fruit is alright, however it only has 3 moves and they all have some decently long cooldowns. Okay, so at number 32 we have the spin fruit, and it actually deserves this spot. It's safe to say that this fruit is actually not that bad for overall just everything. Z has a decent stun, C does some great damage, and F is pretty good to move vertically. However, X is hard to land and F is quite slow. Overall a good fruit for how much it costs. Personally I feel like Spike is one of the most underrated fruits due to its damage and stuns. The Z move is decent for farming if you hold it long enough, so is C and V. The damage is insanely good for what it's worth and the cooldown is also pretty nice. Not only does it look like dough, its combo potential is also pretty good. However, it doesn't have a single mobility move, which is a major downside. We finally made it to the top 30. Number 30, Chop. Chop is a really bad fruit on its own. Z has no range, all the moves deal decently bad damage, and only has 3 damage dealing moves. However, X and C are great stuns and can be used as combo extenders. But what really makes this fruit decent is that it grants the user immunity to every sword attack. Similar to Chop, Smoke really doesn't deserve this spot on its own, but it has a passive. It's the cheapest elemental type fruit, making it great for grinding early game. And it deals some surprisingly good damage and stuns. You can literally bounty hunt with it as a maxed player. The F move is also incredibly good cause while flying you are also dealing damage to anyone below you. However, the moves are all pretty much short-ranged and can be easily avoided. Now before you freak out and say, why did you put it in 28th place? Listen to me first. For how much it costs, Rocket is too overpowered, Z does a really ranged decent damage, X is also ranged and has even better damage, C is a good mobility and damage dealing move. That's not even it, the moves are pretty fast and have low cooldown time, however the damage is still pretty bad compared to some other fruits, so yeah, and only has 3 damage dealing moves. This is the first legendary fruit on the list, but not in the way you would usually think. The fruit is really mid, little damage, slow moves, decently long cooldown, hard to aim. However, if you have incredibly good aiming and predicting, this fruit is the best for PvP, not even kidding. Nothing to say about this fruit, pretty mid overall and really bad for trading. Gravity is our first mythical fruit on the list, at place 26 though. The Z move is pretty decent, X has an excellent stun, but C and V are incredibly slow. The cooldown on gravity is also really long, and F move is absolute garbage. However, if you're skilled enough, this fruit can be really good due to its mid to high damage. Despite already being loved by the community, Bomb is still a bit underrated. No joke, Bomb's power is on par with some legendary fruits. Z does excellent damage, X is pretty mid, V takes away some health in exchange for immense damage, and F deals some little extra damage. For C, you basically place some invisible mines on the ground and enemies that step on them take a little bit damage, stacks quickly due to the amount of mines. And plus, all 5 moves deal damage, unlike some other fruit. Now what's funny about rubber is that it's used by the main character of One Piece, however it's really mid in Blox Fruits. As usual, the pros first. Extreme damage, great stuns, great range and high AoE. However, all the moves have a little hitbox and are quite slow. For the slowness you can fix that by transforming with boosts your speed, knockback and damage. Now the F move, it's really interesting. You can literally launch yourself from jungle to middle town in the first C with this. Control is a pretty decent fruit overall, kind of good and bad at the same time. I mean, the damage is extremely good, it's also really fun for tolling and stuffs, and the moves are really cool too. However, the fruit requires the user to control a certain area and the user is only able to use the moves in that area. And plus the moves are just really slow and has only 3 damage dealing moves, even though they deal insane damage. So just don't use this fruit unless your aim and prediction is insane, but if that's the case this fruit is really good. Starting from now the fruits start to get actually good, and Spider is also the first fruit on this list that has an awakening. Now hear me out, the fruit is pretty bad for grinding, both V1 and V2, and V1 is basically bad at everything in general. However, once awakened, the fruit becomes way better for PvP, and can maybe even make it into top 10 for PvP due to its insane damage and stuns. But for it to be good you need to be relatively skilled. Overall pretty nice fruit, but definitely not the best. Quake is well known for its excellent PvP potential, both V1 and V2 due to its incredibly high damage and decent stuns. Quake has almost no major downside except for its lack of grinding potential due to its high knockback, which becomes a pro in PvP. However, the V move is quite slow compared to the rest of the moves, and the lack of mobility move and all the other small things make this fruit at place 21. Despite all of that, it's still a really solid option for PvP and it's quite easy to use if you have PvP basics. Now we're in the top 20. So we all know that love became way better after the rework in update 19. The moves are really quick, deal some insane damage, the move is really fun and useful at the same time, and you can use other moves while using the F move. And this fruit doesn't have some major downsides, except for maybe your damage is reduced while using the F move, but that doesn't affect much. Oh yeah, if you land any move on anyone, that person will fall in love with you and deal 30% less damage for a short amount of time. However, love has some small problems that make it only place 20. Z has a relatively small hitbox, players can just get out of X move zone easily, and C has a relatively small range. Oh yeah, with the V move you can summon one of your friend to help you in combat, which is very fun. Despite having gotten so many nerfs, Flame is still a really good fruit, both V1 and V2. It is due to its grinding and PvP potentials, both being really good due to its high damage and elemental immunities. It has high damage, high knockback, good AoE, fast skills, low cooldown, and is easy to use. However, some moves have a small hitbox, can be easily avoided and becomes hard to use after you start fighting tough opponents, which is understandable since it is only an uncommon fruit after all. Despite having some good stuns, Sand V1 is just bad at everything in general, however once awakened, it excels in basically everything. It has amazing PvP capabilities, which is due to its high damage, fast moves and most importantly, amazing stuns. It also has some big hitboxes, however note that all the pros that I talked about earlier are only those of Sand V2, and Sand V1 is just garbage. It's also pretty decent for grinding, however you take 2 times more damage than other Blox Fruit users in water, due to sand dissolving in any liquid. Personally I like to always put sand and dark together, cause they are really similar to each other. Like sand, V1 is pretty mid, however once awakened, it has excellent PvP potential and is also pretty nice for grinding. It has some decent damage, not great but not bad either. When paired with its amazing stuns, Dark becomes overpowered in PvP. Overall it is really similar to Sand that I might make it a tie, but considering Dark doesn't take 2 times more damage in water, it is still better than Sand. Phoenix is a decently good fruit, both V1 and V2. If you got your hands on this fruit, you are unkillable due to its absolutely insane healing. All the moves are pretty mid, decent damage, low cooldown, however consumes loads of energy, no joke. I haven't seen many people talk about its potential for sword mains because you can just use the fruit for additional healing in sword fights, which is really nice. Due to its mid moves, it's just better to use this fruit as support, cause the healing also applies to allies nearby, especially in raids. Sound is currently one of the 2 newest fruits. It is also pretty good due to its decent damage and high AoE. Almost all the moves are really fast and has some decent stuns. And also by using the F move or by dealing damage with the fruit fills up a tempo meter which boosts your overall stats. However, the fruit is quite short-ranged, so overall it is not that good. Now what's embarrassing is that I do have Perm Portal, but I kind of forgot, so I still took the footage from at Redivex. So Portal is a really bad damage dealer with moves that are really hard to land. However, it is the best mobility fruit in the game due to it having 3 mobility moves and 1 teleportation move. And the V move has also some combo potentials, making this fruit not actually bad. Shadow is a really good damage dealer. It has some insane potentials in 1v1 situations. However, when it comes to grinding or countering teamers it becomes quite hard since most of its moves are single target. Oh yeah, if you land the C move it heals you by 20% of your max health, which is useful for players without the ghoul race. So Shadow has this Umbra meter that makes the aura around you, not to be confused with the armament hockey, go bigger and darker, which is purely cosmetic. Umbra meter is filled up by dealing damage with the fruit, or it automatically fills up during the night. It can only be drained using the V move. Light is a really good fruit for grinding, and once awakened it is also really good for PvP. This is due to its high damage, high AoE, and fast speed. It has the fastest flight move. It is also a solid option for PvP since you can play both passive and aggressive due to it having great damage, and at the same time the F move is really useful for running. However, it does require some aiming and some skill, so yeah. Ice is a really solid fruit for PvP, and is maybe even in the top 5 or 10 due to its insane stuns. Considering that it is only an uncommon fruit, it is way too overpowered for just everything in general, grinding, PvP, etc. The fruit also has some crazy good AoE, however it lacks damage, which means it can only be used as a stunner. The fruit also doesn't require a lot of skill. A simple combo is just V, spam melee M1, C, spam melee M1 and Z, spam melee M1. Starting from now we are in the top 10, and the fruits start getting really good. Venom is known for its incredible grinding and especially PvP potential. This is due to its high AoE and extreme damage over time. Venom is also the first fruit on the list with a Fury meter. You spawn in with 50% of it filled and it increases over time. Transforming takes away Fury. With Venom you can just keep holding the F move near NPCs and it is really efficient to farm this way. Oh yeah, with Venom you can also easily counter Do V2 users as your Venom with break any move that requires holding. Spirit is known for its insane PvP potential due to its high AoE and extreme damage, however the moves are relatively slow and have high cooldowns. It also has a buddy system which lets you summon Heaven and Hell buddies, depending on where the line was on the Spirit's meter. Heaven buddies buff the player by healing them over time and by providing speed, while the Hell buddies attack enemies by dealing damage. Rumble is a really good fruit in PvP due to its amazing mobility and stuns, especially when awakened. It is also due to its large AoE. And also if you awaken all the moves on Rumble you will be able to obtain Pole V2, a really good sword for PvP. However, you have to be relatively skilled with this fruit. Aiming and timing will be your best friend. But if you are very skilled, this is no jokes the best fruit for PvP. Mammoth is the other fruit that got released in Update 20. It is known by it being relatively good for basically everything in general, especially PvP. And by holding F while being transformed during Sea Beast hunts literally carries everything, especially Terra Sharks. This fruit also has some crazy damage in AoE, as well as high spam abilities. Overall a really good fruit, but still kind of overrated, mostly cause people are losing their mind on the hype. Blizzard is already loved by the community, but it is still underrated. Like this fruit can literally help you with anything you can think of: grinding, PvP, boss farming, raid carrying, sea event farming. You can just sit and all you have to do is to hold the F key and it's auto damage. And for PvP, first get your Blizzard domain out, then start spamming moves and the enemy will be dead in a matter of seconds. Now as we enter the top 5, the fruits start getting way too overpowered, and at place number 5 we have the mythical beast type dragon fruit. This is due to its high combo potential and above average damage and stuns. Like Venom, dragon also has a fury meter, but that doesn't stop the transformation being way too OP. It literally has the highest damage reduction in the entire game with 62.5%. The moves also require some aim, but not that much since all the moves have big hitboxes. However, this fruit is not really good for grinding due to its high knockback. However, it can be useful in PvP. Leopard is a mythical beast type devil fruit and is also the most expensive fruit in the game. It is well known with its high damage yet extremely spammable skills that require little skill if not no skill to use. Its transformation provide almost 2x speed and all the moves deal even higher damage with AM1 that breaks instinct on its 4th attack, and it has no fury meter, meaning you can stay transformed forever. However, like dragon, it is pretty bad for grinding due to its high knockback. Doe is a mythical elemental type devil fruit that is well known for both its PvP capabilities and grinding potentials when awakened. So first I also have it perm and fully awakened, but since just straight up using it Redivex's footage is way simpler and takes less time, so yeah. Doe has insane PvP potential due to its extreme damage and extremely good stuns, as well as having all of its moves AoE, making it also good for grinding. However, when unawakened this fruit really sucks for grinding and is okay for PvP. For Doe combos, you can check out the video at the top right corner. Same thing as Doe, I have it perm, but anyways, Magma is a rare elemental type devil fruit. If it was before I would put it at place number 5 or something, but now that update 20 is out and sea events are now a big aspect of the game, Magma, who excels at sea event hunting, deserves this spot. It is also the second best for grinding and a top 10 for PvP due to its literally insane damage over time. When awakened, all the moves combined with damage over time is over 25k. However, its lack of stuns and range makes it not so great for PvP, but not bad either. I don't even have to say anything, y'all already know how overpowered this fruit is, both V1 and V2. This is the best fruit for grinding and also a solid option for PvP due to its ability to let you spam M1 with a significantly increased hitbox as well as damage reductions. Buddha can also be used for carrying raids, literally any raid, and sea event hunt since you can stand on water when you have the V2. When paired with the ghoul race and the ghoul mask, you literally become unkillable due to the amount of life steal you'll have. Overall, Buddha is the best fruit in Blox Fruits as of update 20. If you want to know how to awaken the best fruit in the game, you can check out this video, and if you want, comment down below what is your favorite fruit, and I'll see you in the next video.